Hey guys, how's it going? So the last time we had AMO come onto the show to talk a little bit more about how she sets up her digital paintings, and using the monk ordination painting that she recently did as an example, she shared with us on how she generates her ideas, how she finds the right references, how she color picks, and how she sketches the initial composition as well. So today it will be a continuation of that, and she'll go through with us more on how she decides on the lighting scenario and how she harmonizes and unifies the entire painting. So stay tuned. I'm just gonna dive in, yeah. How do you decide the lighting scenario of your painting? Do you when you are actually painting it, or rather when you are planning and setting up your painting, do you already have like I mean we did talk about this the last time, you sort of have a mental image of how the painting will look like, but in terms of lighting, I think specifically, do you test it out in your head mentally, like it's going to be a morning shot, evening shot, or is it going to be a afternoon shot, or what is your process like when you are deciding on the lighting scenario for a painting?
Actually, from the reference.
Also from the reference.
Yeah, you can see the main reference that I share in the step 3,
Mm-hmm.
the temple one. You can see the sunlight rise from the light side. You see
Yes, yes,
from the left side. So
yes.
this is the main reference for the lighting in this painting.
Mm,
Yes,
okay.
I I'm not think by my own. I have the reference before, and the
Mm,
situation almost most like happen in the morning in the sunshine.
mm,
So should be like the sunrise should be like in the daylight in the morning.
mm.
Yes, yes,
Wow, so really you are really spot on. You found the perfect reference to kind of like combine everything that you have, right? You have the lighting information there, you've got the subject matter there, you've got the some of the local colors there as well. So it's
yes.
really about um having a checklist of things, right? But do you, when you're looking for a reference, do you have like a mental checklist that say, okay, I need all these things inside my painting. I want to
Yeah.
find, I want to make sure that my reference, my this maybe this one image has all these things, or do you go like I can collect lighting or daylight references from this image, or or,
Um.
or
Actually, can say like that. I think up to the project. Sometime when I just do something like for fun in my personal project,
mm,
I just kind of like search one reference, and because I like the lighting and the color in one photo, that
mm,
is enough. But for this project have a lot of detail, I can just search just one photo. So you can you can say like I have the checklist for
mm,
this photo for the composition, this
mm,
photo for the character inspiration, this photo for the lighting, something like that.
mm. Got it. So sometimes you compartmentalize, sometimes you actually find a just one picture that has all these elements in. So it depends on the situation, and of course it depends on the reference as well. If there's a
Yes.
perfect reference, absolutely I'll just stick with that one reference, right? But if I don't have a perfect reference, then I've got to grab them from everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, can
Um,
say like that.
could you share a little bit about the, you did a sphere and you showed your direct light and your local color there. So what is that diagram there for? It's showing the direction of the light and the quality of the light, I'm supposing.
Actually, when I finish the local color, I have the kind of like the lighting and shadow already, like a cloudy
Mm,
day, and I always separate all of layer, each layer kind of like you can see the character in the foreground. Maybe I can merge it all together. It kind of like the character life in the same state in the front,
Mm-hmm.
in the front view, and the next middle stage I can merge the 3 or 4 character in the same state, and
Mm.
then separate each layer. And when I want to add the lighting, I just create keeping mark on top of the each layer. And I always, can I would say like I always separate layer and create keeping mark for the lighting, for the bulb light, for the fill light.
Mm.
So one layer I always have around 3 layer
Mm.
creeping mark
Mm.
on there.
Mm.
So this method help a lot to when you want to change
Yes.
the color of the lighting, want to change color of the fill light or something. This is make sense.
Yeah, so it allows when you have different layers, it allows you to actually shift and change without affecting the final image because you can just
Yes.
move all the layers separately, right? That's what you're saying. Um,
Mhm.
so when you are doing step 6, you are picking the direct light and your local color, the pink color that you pick there, is it kind of like the overall, do you see it like summary of the overall painting, or is it just like, the skin tone of the characters, I'm just curious, like, does it symbolize anything, or is it just a random color that you pick to help you to figure out where's the lighting?
Yeah, I think I can say like the local color maybe not finished like 100%
Mm,
because I can add more color or anything that I want to. I think is better in the final touch in the last process. So
okay,
for the local color, maybe just like I'm happy with it around 80% or something like that.
I see. Okay,
Yes. You can see the my local color is not like you can see the material on there
yes,
because
yes,
about the material or anything I will paint in the last process in final task. I
yes,
I think this method is easy for me and it works for me, but I don't
yes.
know other people do like this or not.
No, I think having a sphere and having a reference point, to
Mm-hmm.
decide how you want to light it, what is the quality of the light, where are your ambient, your bounce light, and maybe if you want to talk about the quality of the ambient light, quality of the diffuse light or bounce light in this case, or even the ambient occlusion. These are important reference, and I think when you make all these marks there to kind of remind yourself,
Mm-hmm.
um, that is very helpful. But one thing that kind of intrigues me is, of course, the ambient light comes from the background, right? The blue temple, that comes down. Bounce light. Do you decide on the quality of the bounce light? Because the reference pictures, I mean, the quality of the bounce light is not that orange. Right?
Mm.
I think it's not that
Um
obvious. So what made you decide that, hey, it's got to be orange? Is it because you want to play on the contrast with the ambient light, to
Be-
push it up?
bec- because I have the direct light in the yellow, I have the fill
Yes,
light in the blue one. So I
yes.
I just think like if I add the bulb lights more,
Mm,
it's help a lot to kind of like more dimension of the object.
mm,
And it's helpful a lot to make the painting more lively and more the variety of the color.
mm-hmm,
Yes. I think like that. So I pushing from the reference by add the bulb lights, kind of like you can see the intense
mm-hmm.
more than when you see the real photo because of like in the Sunday light, when the direct light hit the area like intense is definitely have the bulb light in the
Yes,
visual. So I put it on the character, on the
yes.
object. Yes.
Right. So this is where your art sense comes in, right? Where your own taste comes in, and you feel like when you push up the orange bounce light, it will just make the whole painting feel more warm and vibrant and come to life. And there's a little bit of like a little bit of exaggeration of the direct light as well, because I don't know what that quality of light called. It's like when the sun shines very brightly on something, there's a little bit of that reddish tint there,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you squint your eyes or you use a camera to take it there, there's that little bit of red there. I can't remember what's that term called, but I think you really push the direct light as well to make it feel more sunny and warm. I can really feel the warmth come out a lot.
Yes. I add it because it form kind of like I study about the still life
Mm,
or environment painting a lot, so I can summarize in my mind that kind of like when the I do the some scene kind of like in the daylight, it's always have ambient lights to make it
mm,
warmer, because of the orange tone
mm.
help a lot to make it warm, and then you can feel that like it's okay, the sun very heat.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
really the heat comes through. Is it a color dodge that you use, or if you don't mind sharing,
Mm.
use
I
for dodging?
don't, no, don't mind, sure. I would say like this. For the direct rise, sometimes I use the overlay mode, but
Mm,
sometimes I just use the normal mode. But for
mm,
me, I think normal mode work for me. Because normal modes can kind of like I can pick the color. I can pick the color that I really want and paint it. Sometimes when use the overlay mode is 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 not 100 that I want the result. You know what I mean? And
yes, yes,
but I can say like actually up to the painting, up to the situation too. But for this painting, I use the normal mode.
I see.
Yes, and for the ambient light, I always use the screen mode.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yes, for to kind of like to separate each stage.
Mm-hmm,
You can see like how the difference between the local color for the step 6 really really different with the step 7. You can feel like in step 7 you can feel like the have like some air around the character,
mm-hmm,
some space, because of I use the screen mode, and
mm,
I use the blue, dark blue, and painting between each state
mm-hmm,
to make like separate each state for the character, for the
mm,
building, for the foreground, background, in and
mm,
or middle ground. And yes, it's help a lot. And the screen mode help another thing, like when you painting something and you see kind of like really dark, or it's kind of like look like the dark too much, you can use you can use the screen mode, like the blue, dark blue, and paint on there. It help a lot to make your painting not too dark.
mm-hmm,
You can see the door in the temple is
mm-hmm.
actually really dark, but you can see the like kind of like the dark blue because of the effect from the screen mode.
Yeah, yeah. So you really push the atmospheric perspective of the painting, right? By using screen to just create like an illusion of atmosphere there, so it makes it feel a lot deeper than it really
Yes.
is.
Yes,
Um,
but on the character, that you see like some color of the blue on the clothes of the character or on the hair. I
mhm.
just use the normal mode to paint it.
Wow, that's interesting. So you really, I think it sounds like you really have a mastery of like the different quality of light in what you have. Because I I don't really I don't really paint like in normal mode. Because for me, I think
Mm-mm.
maybe in the training that I had before, it's very technical. All right, I'll just
Mm-mm.
blast it with a screen or whatnot, and then it'll just push the background. But I think because color is so important for you, and you study color a lot more in depth than I do, so you actually paint it in
Mm.
um, intuitively, which is very interesting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like this. Um, before this, before I summarize my own method, I ever do the coin master game that I said to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do the coin master game, I didn't kind of like I didn't do by myself alone. I have to work
Mm,
with the friend with the yeah. So painting the character of the coin master game, I can do like this method. I
mm,
have to separate like the local and use adjust mode. You
mm,
can paint in the real normal mode, like you want, I just have to use the overlay for the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
screen for the
Mm-hmm.
ambient light,
Mm-hmm.
some kind like that. And I have to work with this method a lot.
Mm.
So I can summarize it myself and develop to this method, you know.
Okay.
Mm.
Got it, got it. So it's through a lot of practice and through a lot of observation. So it's knowledge again.
Mm.
It's such a like a lot of people always say, just gotta keep practicing. And sometimes a
Mm.
lot of young artists or when especially when we're starting this, it's like, what is this? Practice.
Mm.
I do not
Mm.
even have the
Mm.
eyes to see how can I practice it. But it's true because when you start practicing, when you start observing, then the nuances start to pop up a little bit more. And
Mm.
that's what art is all about, right? We're observing nature and we try to replicate it and we try to
Mm.
make it sometimes even better, right?
Yes,
But we need to observe first and then we need to practice it better, so train our eyes to see it.
yes, because when practice a lot, you can see like, okay, for this local, and you want to add the ambient light, you can think about the color that's work for this local.
Mm, mm,
By don't use the screen mode anymore, you can pick the color that you
mm.
think like, okay, this is the work for this local color, something.
I'm curious, like when you pick a color, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, because there's some ways of picking color. Some people go by hue, saturation,
Mm.
and HSB, black and white, right? And then some people go by the RGB or what is your preferred way of picking color? Do you go by hue, saturation? Yeah,
I always use HSB bar.
you use the HSB bar.
Yes, yes. I think it's easy for me because it's helpful a lot when you, I think up to the person user is. But for
Mm,
me, HSB really work because you can see the step 8 that I add the color harmony.
mm,
When from step 7, actually you can finish off step 7, but I want to add more like variety of the color harmony on the my color, so you can see the ground is, you can see the step 7 is kind of like the yellow and orange, right?
yes, yes.
Just when I want to add color harmony, I just pick up the yellow on there and change a little bit hue on the
Mm,
HSV bar, you
mm.
know,
So you
and
just change the hue, but you don't touch the HSB. I just for those who are not sure, it's also
mhm.
hue, saturation, and value. I prefer to use value rather than black and white. I think B stands for black
uh,
and white, right? If I'm not wrong.
yes, 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 black and
Oh
white.
yeah, but value
Yes.
I think is a better, more accurate naming
Mm-hmm.
convention for it. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so that means you only pick colors along the same hue, but not
Mm-hmm.
and you don't touch the saturation at all.
I always touch the saturation. It's
Okay.
help a lot. It's help a lot when you, especially when you painting the shadow color.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like I have the, okay, this is a best example for the yellow color, because the
Yes.
yellow color really hard when you want to add the shadow color of this, because kind of like you can imagine like you pick up this color is local color, right?
Yes.
And you less the value to more black and
Mm-hmm.
paint it, you can see like the yellow not beautiful yellow. So you should kind of like add more saturation always when you want to pick up the color of the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially yellow color local.
Yeah, because shadows are generally more saturated
Yes, yes.
when sunlight hits something, it just isn't as saturated for some
Mm.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
Mm,
There's no
mm,
way to
mm.
describe it. It just not it's not as saturated. But shadows just and I remember they are complementary as well, right? If you've got something that's yellow, chances
Mm.
are the shadow is
Mm.
purplish, right? So that's something to take note of. Um, but if you go to step 8, and I'm really, really like this is like the secret sauce
Mm.
that some people really study a lot into. Like how did you come across this or what made you come out of this formula, that you have for this painting? Because you pick yellow, purple, pink, blue, and green. Is there a reason for it, or is it picked from the colors of a painting and you feel like it would gel well with your painting? Because
Actually,
this is super important, I feel, because this really brings your whole painting to another level.
for me, and in my understand right now, I think up to the sense of the artist to pick the color harmony with the I think I for me you can see a lot of my painting. You can see if I have the area of the lighting, you can see kind of like the mint, the blue, and the pink, some kind like that. It's I think it's kind of like it's my style, my signature.
Mm.
But you see the outer artist pick the color is different. Is some people kind of like add like more gray in in the painting, but you
Mm.
can see my painting is kind of like not too gray, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think up to the sense of the artist, what they want to present, some kind like that.
But that's interesting though. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I read James Gurney book. I think it was it's either one of the two books, Color and Light. I think he was talking about how grays actually can help to bring up the colors of a painting, right? And for him, he also calls it the secret sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because gray is our eyes will just trick us and interpret it as another color.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting that for you chose not to use that and you just chose to pick certain colors, like in this case you have that pinkish bluish hues that I think you like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's your style and it's your signature.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you decide to go along that lines? Like, did you feel like just picking grays wasn't vibrant enough, the colors just didn't pop up enough for you, or was it something else?
Um, I think because of I see the overall look for the step 7. So when I want to add the color harmony, I just pick the color that I have before and change a little bit, like change the hue, change the saturation just a little bit because I have the overall look that I happy with it.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right, right. So that means you color pick your own colors,
Mm,
dial it a little bit, and lift it up even more, right? By adjusting the hues and the saturation so that you
mm-hmm,
can expand the range of colors that you have there. And I think it's also it also brings it to another level again because you have additional shapes that you break down in the on
yeah.
the what you call it. I think that's sand, right? Or rather the ground of the temple,
Mm-hmm,
and you
mm-hmm.
break it down so that adds another layer of vibrancy there.
Yes.
And I think it's amazing that you use that. You see that as an opportunity because some people will just say, okay, my painting is done at step 7. But at step 8, you say, okay, I can do more. I can do better. I can break down the shape even more and bring up, bring up the shadow of the gateway there even more, right? Um,
Mm-hmm. Actually, at the beginning, I finished at the step six, at the step 7. Yeah, but I want to improve my painting
yes, yes.
more attractive, more lively, and
Mm,
I have a passionate about the oil painting,
mm,
and you can see like my methods very different from the traditional method. You ever paint the oil painting before?
yeah.
Yes, oil painting is very hard for me
Oh,
because
really?
yes, I terrible with that. I terrible with the traditional. Absolutely. You know, right? When you painting the still life with the
hmm
oil painting,
hmm
you have to kind of like pick the color by yourself
hmm
and paint kind of like
hmm
form the abstract form
hmm
and create the shape. It's really hard.
mm
So
mm
so I apply to the digital painting by okay, I separate layer already and and have a shadow lighting already and then just add the color harmony in the last process.
mm mm. But I think that is this for me is like the deal breaker because if you stop at 7, I think it's still a beautiful painting at 7. But when you bring it up to the next level by improving, I feel it's an improvement of the silhouette. Some, because of the shadow of the gateway that you have there, or rather the
Mhm,
gate, right? Because
mhm,
yeah, it pushes out the silhouette even more. It brings out uh the warmth of the painting even more. The quality of the lighting is more consistent with the quality of the lighting that you see on some of the characters' head.
Mm-hmm.
At 7, I think it still works, but when you have that quality on the ground as well, it matches very well with what we see on some of the, especially I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the girls in the foreground, um, the one wearing the
Mm-hmm.
yellow dress. It really
Mm-hmm.
matches the quality. So that for me is like, wow, it really just harmonizes, forgive the
Thank,
pun, but it really just brings the whole painting together. Um,
thank you so much. That it
yeah.
kind of like the important last process that important is kind of like final touch, I think, because final touch puts the quality very much. When
Yes.
you add the material, you can see the gold line on the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I paint some kind of like the overlay mode on that to make
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like grow. I usually use the overlay in the last process to make it like warmer, you know, and yeah.
Hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, I think that really helps to just bring everything. It's like some I cannot remember where this came from, but there was this guy who said that art is kind of like we're just trying to do cobble things together and make things come together. At first, it feels like everything will fall apart, but somehow as we work it through towards the end, it just comes together,
Mm,
right? It's just like clay, right? Clay, like it's like, oh gosh, it's so hard to bring up
mm,
the the pottery that I'm trying, or ceramics, right? I'm trying to bring up the clay up. It's so hard to make everything go up, but once it goes up and we start to move around the clay, it just works. All right.
mm-hmm,
It just works.
mm-hmm,
It's so yeah. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of tech videos. Yeah, it's just
mm-hmm,
Nvidia's tech line, so like it just works. So um yeah, and that's it's I just think the step 8 that you have there, and I guess I've been repeating myself over and over again.
oh,
It's really just for me, it's like wow, it really brings the whole painting to another level. And I really appreciate that you go to step 9 as well, where you say, okay, this is still not enough. Step
mm-hmm.
8 is still not enough.
No. I think I have one trick to think about the color harmony
Ah, okay,
for
yes.
for the people who don't understand and who don't have idea to pick up the color.
Mhm.
I just watched some video about the color harmony. Someone told kind of like compare the color harmony between the people. In my understand, you think about like people who have kind of like hide the ego,
Mhm.
talk with the people who hide the ego too. When people who have a high ego talk together, kind of like it's is make it loud, and if and each other don't listen each other because they
Mhm.
have a high ego.
Mhm.
It's kind of like compare with the color that have high saturation.
Mhm. Mhm.
When the color high saturation live with the color high saturation is can live together, so you must to kind of like add more gray. They kind of
Mm.
like soft people. When people soft talk together, it's kind of like it's make it like easy to communicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's creating contrast in that sense, right? You're talking about
Yes.
contrast.
So color harmony is related with the contrast and value also.
Mm.
Yes.
Right. So it's like overall, you look at a painting, you like see, okay, which are the areas where the quote unquote ego of the painting can be pushed up even more, and then
Mm.
so they can accentuate out all the soft spoken parts in the painting as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that really helps to push that. I mean, but when you finish step 8 though, do you look at the overall value structure of your painting and just double check to see if you have like what you said, you have overdone it, right?
Yeah, I always check the black and white. I always have the black and white on top of the layer to
Mm,
always check, because it's very important so you can see like the each character separate, right? You can sure when you just look the color, you must to make sure when you open the black and white value
Mm-hmm.
to check it.
Right. Yeah, it's important to check because that way we can still be clear that there's a distinction in all the different layers that you have painfully set up, right? Because otherwise, if you overdo it, it's like crap, what a waste. But yeah.
Yes, many times when I painting some kind of like leery pastel,
Mm.
and when I open the black and white, what should I do? It's kind of like she kind of like can separate anything, So when can separate the value, so sometimes it's not clear what you focus or what you foreground or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Maybe you can move on to step 9. Could you share a little bit about how you choose the texture that that you add texture to your painting, and how do you go about that?
Yes, step 9 architecture, right? I have the idea from my bro. My bro, he names Win Lam.
Oh,
I'm
William.
not sure
Okay.
I it is correct or not. Win, he is a uh Vietnam person,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I meet him in the level up group on the Facebook.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he paints style kind of like um oil painting and have the texture paper, like kind of like the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I when I saw that painting, wow, I like it. I like because I have passion about the oil painting.
Mm-hmm.
So I direct message to him and ask him like, hello, my name is Amo. I am the artist. I really like your work a lot. So can you teach me to add the texture, some kind like this or something like that?
Ah, okay.
So he inspired me to add the texture, and
Mm.
I always talk with him until now.
Oh, wow, that's
Yes,
great.
we became like a great friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I have more one brother. He's really nice. He's just 25 or 4, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but he is awesome artist. So yes, I got the idea like add the texture from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Do you decide like which textures would work best for which painting, or do you have like I mean, what's your process like?
Um, when I'm happy with my painting, I usually merge my painting and go to the filter and use the filter gallery in the Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
And as the first, I usually use the canvas texture, I think, but for this time, I usually use the sandstone texture because I think it's kind of like I like I like the result of sandstone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when use the canvas, it kind of like you can see kind of like the line.
Mm,
So I think sandstone work for me before, work for me more.
mm. So
Mhm.
the graininess of sandstone is feels more natural than the canvas texture that Photoshop offers.
Yes, I think. Or another method. If you don't want to merge your painting, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you can create the white color layer on top and use the filter gallery and use like multiply mode on the white layer.
Mm-hmm.
So you do this method. You don't want to merge your painting, but
Right.
yeah, got the effect some kind same. I think.
Okay. Cool. But have you ever like used like a photograph as a texture? Like
Oh, I ever use, but it doesn't work for me. I
it
think.
doesn't work.
Yes, it doesn't work.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay. Interesting. Wow. So this is a very good sharing by Amo here, guys. Like she's really like sharing and being very open with her process. So it's really a treat to just hear her entire workflow from step 1, step 2, all the way up to step 9. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you coming and being so open with the sharing. So hopefully with all this all this opening and sharing of knowledge, we can set up our paintings better, and we can feel less intimidated to work on our paintings, because when we face a blank canvas, it can be scary for a lot of people. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes I will go like, okay, what do I do now as well? But the funny thing is, once we start putting in the first mark, we start drawing, things will start flowing, and that's when we realize, hey, actually it's okay. We have all that knowledge that we have over the years built up, that just carries us through to finish up the work. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing all these processes, and it's really a treat. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. And I want to apologize if today I lost focus a little bit, or I'm not answer not clear something. You can ask me in the comment if you don't clear any question.
Yeah, if you have any questions, guys, just feel free to just ask, put them on the comments, and you know um give Amo's YouTube channel a like. If you like the
Yeah.
content, give her some support, give her some love. Same thing as well, if this content is something that you guys enjoy, please feel free to give a like and subscribe as well. um and yeah, without further ado, thank you so much again, and
Okay.
we will catch you guys soon. See you
Okay.
guys.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
See you.
everyone. See you. Bye bye.
Bye.